Soon may the wellerman come, bring us coffee, tea, and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, take our leave and go. At a fair in the sun of town, her hair was blonde and this was brown. Soon may the wellerman come around. On the last video, I launched my home-built 12-foot skiff from an old road that dead ends at a creek of the Cumberland on the Lake Barkley Reservoir. This video will resume where I left off, setting sail from what I consider a beautiful, secluded, sandy beach, and most people just seem to see as the trashy old banks of the Cumberland. I have kind of a unique route planned on this day, and the combination of a steady north wind, the shape of the terrain, and a road that dead ends at the water on both ends makes this possible. The pencil line represents the old road that was built long before the flooding of the Cumberland and the creation of the Barkley Reservoir. I launched my skiff on the right side of the frame where the road enters a creek to the north, rode out the creek, set sail, and began running with that north wind, sailing just along the edge of the LBL bank there, and I will complete my loop by recovering the boat at the southern end of the road where it also enters the lake. When I arrive at the takeout, I'll simply hike about a mile down that road back to the launch site, get the truck, and drive back to the takeout and recover the boat. This allows me to enjoy a long downwind sail without having to retrace my steps. It may look like open water, but I'm actually sailing over the shallow flats just outside the Cumberland River channel, and the depth here is generally only 3 to 6 feet at the deepest. And this time of year, it's even more so on the low end of that range, as the water level is being drawn down to winter pool. But my 12-foot skiff only needs a few inches to float and a foot or two to get around comfortably. Reaching the mouth of the broad creek to the south, I'm really supposed to be heading up the creek for the launch site, but it's such a beautiful day and I'm having fun, so I decide to continue on just a little bit further past the mouth of this southern creek. I know that'll mean a little extra rowing later in the day, but I think it'll be worth it. For whatever reason, Google Maps has labeled this entire body of water as Cave Pond. I've never heard of such a body of water in this area. But I mean, that sounds intriguing. And it turns out to be a pretty interesting place. So here I am, sailing along on Cave Pond. As much as I want to keep sailing, I know I've reached my turnaround point for sure now, and I've probably gone just a little bit too far. I decide to hit the bank and have lunch. Notice how much white gravel is exposed on the bank here and just how big the riverbank is this time of year. At the height of summer, when the water is at its highest point, only about a quarter of the bank you see here is visible. I was about to take a seat on a big log to eat my lunch, and then I realized that may not be the best place for a picnic. This big, gorgeous timber rattler was just hanging out in a pile of trash and debris, just sunning itself. I probably see more timber rattlers around here than any other venomous snake, and there are 4 venomous snakes that are native to Kentucky. To my knowledge, the timber rattler is not the most common. It's just something about the areas that I tend to frequent. And in the interest of not getting bit way out in the middle of nowhere alone, I recorded this footage by putting my camera way out on my telescoping boom. And notice that the snake is really in no hurry to get away from me. It didn't even move until I started putting the camera in its face, actually. It's commonly thought that walking with a heavy step in the backcountry will scare away snakes, and in my experience, that usually is not the case. It may help to some degree, but this is a good example of how a lot of snakes are really not afraid of you, and why should they be? So you do have to use your eyes and watch out for them. I begin rowing back the way I came for that southern creek. It's time to start making my way back to the takeout. I definitely have a little bit of rowing ahead of me, and that's made more fun by a little bit of a running swell, but I expect to be able to make some progress up the creek by beam reaching with the dagger board down. I know that I'll still be a little bit downwind of the takeout, but it will save me some rowing. I have made the takeout, and you may notice that the road runs directly into the lake. And that's a pretty good clue that the road was here before the lake. Before the creation of Barkley Reservoir and Kentucky Lake, and the creation of both of those dams, and the National Recreation Area, This was a small community here in Land Between the Lakes, and at that time it was known as Between the Rivers. This road is one of a few paved roads remaining. There aren't very many original paved roads that I've encountered, and as far as I know, the Forest Service doesn't really maintain it in terms of repaving it. But you can see right here where I'm walking, they've recently put down some gravel. I'm going up a big hill right now, so pardon the huffing and puffing, but about a mile to the creek where I launched, and the plan is get in the truck, drive back here to the takeout, and load up the boat and go home. This area used to be kind of high traffic during summer for people RVing and pulling camper trailers. I have to thank the U.S. Forest Service for locking a gate at the more high profile way of getting back in here, because most people don't know the alternate route to get in here. So they take the easy way, come to a locked gate, turn around, and that helps me quite a bit to keep the riffraff out. At either end of the road, they're kind of campsites, you know, it's considered backcountry camping, and there's just not much space there. So if someone's already occupying the space, it's kind of not good etiquette to barge in and do much of anything. I've had situations where I've met other people, and you know, they were cool. We had good communication. Said, "Hey, are you camping? Yes, no. What's going on?" We figured it out. But definitely had some riffraff back in this place before. Hopefully, they keep that gate locked. If they don't, I may know a guy who is in the padlock business. Knowing I had this walk ahead of me, I considered bringing my hiking boots in the boat, but it's only a mile, so I decided not to, and I'm now doing this hike, if you want to call it that, in foam moccasins with no socks and chiggers on top of that. Some people have asked about the shoes I wear sailing, and these are a brand called Flofers, and it's like a boat shoe made out of the same material as a Croc, which is EVA foam, and I like them. They're pretty durable. They have all the advantages of Crocs, but they stay on your foot a little better and protect your foot more. But sadly, they're only offering kind of bright colors for the sole. They don't offer neutral colors on the sole anymore, as far as I'm aware. My first pair, the shoe was the same kind of saddle brown, and the sole was gum. But when I went to buy my second pair, they didn't offer that. So I had to get a white sole, which I wasn't crazy about, but the white sole has turned tan with use. So I guess it works out. Pennants are now available at cumberlandrover.com. Historically flown for signal purposes, a pennant is that indescribable something that your boat is missing. They can help you read the wind, increase visibility of your small craft, and they just look cool, fluttering from the masthead or yard of a lug sail. You can have any color you want, as long as it's bright red. I have 2 styles of pennant now available at cumberlandrover.com.